Munciana Courtside, show number 10, the regional show. Now it starts getting fun. The winner celebrates, or winner survives and advances. Losers go home. This is my time of year, big fella. Mike Lingenfelter, Randy Gardner. Let's get it going, Biggs.
Past week highlights. Want to hit on a few of them, the sectionals that kind of stood out to us. Big one we just talked about, Noblesville went Sectional 8. Big wins over Carmel, HSC, and Westfield.
Yeah, went the hard route. That's probably the biggest upset.
Yep.
You know, we talked all year long that Noblesville had not really found their rhythm, hadn't found any real synergy. Found the right time to do it. Carmel was playing much better. Probably the best Carmel had played all year long was at the end of the season. Noblesville, good win there. HSC coming off a monster 5-game upset of Fishers. And kind of falls into a trap game with Noblesville and loses in 4. Noblesville goes ahead and dispatches of Westfield. You know, Noblesville and Amalvadar and the gang move forward, and that's a huge win and a great sectional victory for Steve Hawthorne.
Yeah, no doubt. Another one we talked about, Sectional 24. We talked about being possibly the state champion down the road. Newcastle wins it. Big win early in the day against Wapahani Saturday morning, and then followed up Saturday evening with Delta. They beat them in straights.
I thought Newcastle-Wapahani was the biggest game in all of the sectionals in the state of Indiana. I thought that it had the potential to be as good as any, and the people that I spoke to that were at that game said it was as good a volleyball match as they've ever seen. 5-set match. Newcastle comes from behind to win, down 13-9 in the 5th. Digs out of a hole and takes down Wapahani. You know, we talked about they needed some swagger to get past Wapahani. Wapahani, a very bold team, very successful, and they had a lot of history on their backside. Newcastle got that swagger victory against Yorktown, albeit Bella Rosenthal being out.
Yep.
But Newcastle got a little mojo going there, and it was enough to get them through that sectional. Got another tough test coming up, and we'll talk about it in the regional. But that's a huge, huge win in sectional 24.
Yep. Providence took down sectional 15, took down New Albany in straights, but did have Floyd Central took the first one, lost, and then lost the next 3. So.
You know, too, really, that's a great sectional. Maybe the best coached sectional.
Yep. A lot of history.
Yeah, a lot of history. John Breeding, so long, my friend. Great coach and a historic coach at New Albany. Bart Powell at Floyd Central is second to none.
Yep.
Second to none. And then Terry Perica has really made that part of the state hers now. And there's 3 incredible coaches. Providence rolling through those 2 teams says a lot. I tell you, the Floyd Central team, crazy athletic, crazy emotional energy. I really like them. Floyd Central probably needed a little more emotional leader. They had a lot of emotional players, needed a little more emotional leadership to get by a team like Providence. But great win for Perica in the Providence game.
Yeah, no doubt. Raymond Jane, Player of the Week. We're going to go Players of the Week. Big 3.
And you picked the whole Trojan squad. It's like these guys barreled out of the Trojan horse.
Unbelievable numbers.
Well, Bailey Cox 40 digs versus Wapahani. That's as a freshman, and 40 digs in the 5-set match is off the charts. This kid is a real deal. This kid is good. College guys may want to start dialing in on this kid because she's fiery, she's aggressive. She is the real deal, and for her to nail down 40 digs in a big match, maybe the biggest match of her career, is monstrous. Mabry Schaffmaster, 29 kills on 51 swings, hits right at 500 with 4 blocks. Freshman, which bodes well for Newcastle. And then the old guy, the sophomore. Mel Schaffmaster, 20 kills on 39 swings, 400 hits 462, 7 blocks, 56 assists.
And I want to say, based on me being at Newcastle in the past, I think that is a school record of 56 assists.
That's a boatload of assists. You know, the neat thing about it is, those stats were well kept. Man, that is a monster night. And Newcastle had to have this kind of night to get past. These 3 guys and Cecily Jester had to have big nights for Newcastle to survive and advance against a really, really good Wapahani team.
I want to say Jester had about 15 or 16 kills to add to it too.
That's-
Gracie Bowers had a heck of a game. She had 15 or 16 kills as well. So
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
no doubt.
Well, congratulations to those three. You better hope that they have some more left in it, because, like I said, they've got some tough things coming up, and for the rest of their road through this.
Yeah.
But congratulations to the Trojan Three. First time we've ever had three guys on
Yeah.
there. I like
the
it.
big three.
I like it.
All
I
right.
like it.
Lazy Boy game regionals of the week. We're going to kind of talk about them as we go through them, but we're going to hit the courtside regional show. Talk about 1A. 1A, not a lot of surprises in the sectionals, but there
No.
wasn't crazy deep sectionals. Most of them won their sectionals. 1A North, there's two of them. Really looks like it's going to be probably Pioneer Morgan Township.
Pioneer Morgan Township. Rod Nye's in the game.
The top
He's
two
a
teams.
Great little coach. I like Pioneer.
Yeah.
I like Pioneer there.
Yeah. And then the other North is to set them up for the semi-state opponent. This could be a good one. It's LCC and Cowan.
You know, LCC was one of the guys we picked at the start of the season to be in the state championship, and they were kind of our favorite to win it all. Cowan's kind of a surprise. They had a kid that,
They probably had the toughest sectional based on the depth of it.
yeah,
1A.
yeah, they're all very evenly matched,
Yeah.
but they got some breaks. You got a huge break with some injuries to Delville kids and otherwise, but LCC, I think, is probably too much for Cowan. I don't think Cowan can play with those guys.
Yep.
So guys,
So, the 1A South we were going to talk about. You were a big fan of Tinley.
I like Amaya Jones a lot. I
The other
think
one would
that-
be an Indianapolis Lutheran.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
Yeah.
Tinley is a relatively new school. These guys, like I said earlier, I love the principal. I see him in everything I look at, social media wise. He's high energy, and so is Tinley.
Yeah.
And Tinley's having some success across the board. I like Amaya Jones and those guys. That'll be one of the best games. That'll be a real tight matchup. You could flip a coin there.
Yeah. And then the other south of 1A, that's the Lagodi Regional. You got Bar Reeve and Springs Valley, probably the top two teams.
Well, they're always the two of the top 1A schools. And, Bar Reeve is, like we talked about last week, is huge history. Springs Valley as well.
Yeah.
I like Bar Reeve there.
Yeah.
I like Bar Reeve, and I like LCC and Bar Reeve going head to head.
Yep. And I think that, like you talked about, that's probably the toughest regional with those two locked-in programs right there. For the 2A games, 2A North, kind of we talked about it. This is going to be a heck of a little matchup. This will be the first match of the weekend to open up the
That'll
regional.
be-
So
This is going to be a nice little regional.
yeah,
The 2A North will be a fun regional to watch. Blackhawk Christian, very, very good. They just got dispatched by, I think they played Dwenger late in the year and got beat, but they're a great little 2A program. Always in the hunt, very athletic. One of the better teams in the area, and Andrian
Yeah.
is
coming down from 3A now.
yeah,
that
they're
2A
dropping
that we're
down.
talking about.
They dropped down from 3A into 2A. I like Andrian in that match because of that reason. Haven't played
Yeah.
a lot of big teams, but they're good, man.
Yeah,
They'll be good.
and I think they ended up going 4 or 5 with Bishop Dwenger as well earlier in the year, and then they've had some pretty good games. With
They're
the
good.
bigger-
I like
bigger
Andrian there.
Yeah. The other 2A North game, this one's gonna be a heck of a match, I think.
Yeah.
Probably you're looking at, based on those, it'll be the evening match, Alexandria and Rochester.
Alexandria with Mighty Megan Miller, they're going heading to Nebraska, and she is an incredible. If you got a little free time on Saturday and not watching one of these other matches, that may be worth your trip.
Yeah.
She's
Head to Taylor.
She's a mighty might. She flies all over the place. She passes it, defends it, serves it, hits it. She is an absolute joy to watch.
She might even coach it too.
She might. Mom is coaching it. Alexandria and Rochester, I tell you, that's going to be a war. I kind of like Alexandria in this one just because of strength of schedule. Even though Rochester's won 30 games,
Yeah.
and Rochester historically is a great program,
Yeah.
I kind of like Alec in that one.
Alec heading into the tournament is the number 1 team in 2A. So
I like him.
we'll see.
I like him.
Head to the south side of it, where we got really a heck of a matchup. Covington Christian, we talked about. They do have 1 loss. Bishop Retard, they got the stats in a little late last week. And Hagerstown.
You've said that wrong every time we've ever done this show.
What?
Covenant.
Covington. Oh,
Covenant.
gotcha.
Say it.
Covington.
Covenant.
Gotcha.
Covenant Christian. See, you guys were confused the whole time. Who the hell's this Covenant?
Yeah.
Covington Christian. Covenant Christian. Hagerstown. We had Hagerstown as our dark
2-1
horse.
loss teams.
We had Hagerstown as our dark horse all year long. Brian Murray called Covenant Christian as the 2A team to beat. And he felt like they were going to be the team to beat in this thing. I don't know. I haven't seen either team. I love the Hagerstown story though.
Yeah.
I could go either way. This is a coin flip as well, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Hagerstown roll through that.
Yeah. The other one, heading down to Mitchell, the regional there, we got, looks like the top two teams we talked about last week with Evansville and CAI.
Well, modern day history is always on their side. They've had great volleyball history. CAI's got the best player in that regional.
Maybe the same.
She's we'll talk next week a little about Gatorade Player of the Year. Allie Stumler, could be that person. She, when I look through all of what's been done in the whole package, character otherwise, Allie Stumler's awful good. I like CAI in that.
Yep. Talk about the 3A regionals. Mm-hmm. Heading to the north side, really, Northwestern's a 4-team loss team, and then Mishawaka Marion ended up finishing third. I saw them at the Muncie Central invite. They're big, long, athletic. You know how he does.
Always big, long, and athletic. Yeah. Always big, long, athletic, and well coached. Anderson does an incredible job with those guys. At this time of year, you got to go with a lot of things. You got to go health. You got to go with health. If your team is healthy, you got to give them an edge. You got to go with experience, team experience, coach experience. No one has more experience than Marion. And you really got to go with matchups. And Marion is a good matchup right now. That's a good matchup for them. Northwestern is. I like Mishawaka Marion and Coach Anderson rolling through that.
Yep. Possible semi-state opponent right here. The Norwell has Belmont and Fairfield earlier in the morning. I think Fairfield will probably pull that one out. They're pretty good this year. I think they got
Fairfield's always good.
They got 5 losses on the year.
Fairfield's always good. Belmont's in a little bit of rebuilding. I think that Coach Kroll should be pretty excited that they're there, but I think Fairfield may have a little edge on Belmont. The big match in the morning there is Newcastle and Dwenger. Newcastle coming off a huge weekend where they take down Wapahoney and Delta. I don't know. You got to watch out for hangovers. You really got to watch out for hangovers, and those guys aren't practicing today. Which, one of the things I think that's very important come tournament time. You always hear people talk about tapering and all these other things. I am a firm believer you don't change a whole lot. Whatever's been good to you, you keep it being good, and you got to keep working and training. Scouting reports become critical. A lot of these things become huge, and that's going to be an issue. That'll be interesting. I think that will be the best 3A regional game of the day by far. The Dwenger team with 1 loss. You got to be very, very careful in that one. That's going to be a big one. You've got Newcastle winning that, yes?
Yeah. That's what I think. I think riding high, and they got a nice little rhythm to them right now.
Well, you riding high is important, but you're only as good as your next game. Mm-hmm. In your next game, if you're not good, you're done. I think that one of the keys to being really, really good at this stage of the game is to forget. You got to have short-term memory. Saturday is done. It's done. Who cares? Yep. Monday is what's important to me now. And I think that you got to keep pushing forward, and you play one at a time. You've heard these cliches a million times, but they're very, very true. And people start to look at these maps. So, you'll get this thing and start to chart it out like crazy. We've all lost an NCAA pool. You got sure things, and the next thing you know, you've lost 6 games in a row.
Duke falls.
Yeah, Duke falls, and you're screwed. That's important. Newcastle has got to make sure that they realize it's not last week.
Yep.
And but I do agree Newcastle over Fairfield in that matchup. I like Newcastle over Marion, in fact.
Yeah. And then going to the south, talking about you talked about Brebeuf and Northview. Northview's putting a good season together. They made the state finals. I think 3 years ago you were there.
Yeah.
They're a 30-4 team right now.
Crazy athletic. I enjoy watching them. Brebeuf was my call to be in the 3A with Newcastle and WAP were my choices there, but Brebeuf was my choice out of the South in the first show we did. And I still like that Brebeuf team. It's a team that's been kind of growing into this position for the last couple of years and benefited from a couple of the 3A powers, Providence and Yorktown moving up. And Brian Murray knew that. I mean, he was really excited about those guys moving. I like Brebeuf over a very athletic Northview, but in a much better game than people think.
I think so too. Then the other South we're talking about looks like, I think top two teams probably Silver Creek and Heritage Hills. And that should be an interesting match just because I don't know either that well.
Yeah. I like Silver Creek there. I agree with you on that. And I like Brebeuf over Silver Creek to win that end of the South.
Yep. All right, talking about the 4A, kind of last thing we're going to hit on because, I mean, we're not going to do top 10 because those are set until the end because it's playoff time.
Yeah.
The regional 4As, it's loaded from every division we talked about. 4A
That's awesome.
North, LaPorte's area up there, they got really a heck of a group. I think Crown Point and Penn are the top two teams.
I think Penn and Michigan City, I think, playing one. I think that'll be the best game in the North. But I do think Crown Point's the better team. I like Crown Point winning that 4A North up top.
Yep. And then you got the other one heading to the Muncie Central regional location. You got 4 great teams there with Noblesville and Carroll, and then you got Zionsville and Yorktown.
Yeah, and Noblesville, Carroll, I flip a coin.
Yeah.
You know, once again, just flip a coin. I don't think it matters. I think that whoever wins the Yorktown-Zionsville match is the winner of that 4A North. You know, Yorktown-Zionsville is going to be the best match of the day.
Yep.
Bar none. There's a lot of really good matches, and no offense to anybody, but that is by far the best match of the day. You know, and maybe Gerard, Eisenbarger, Daniels roll in and go against, Rosenthal, Murr, and Knuckles. That's going to be a really, really big time volleyball. That'll be the best game, and that's the game I'm going to go to.
Yep. I'll be there too.
You have to. You're getting paid to be there. I'm going to go there as a fan. I tell you, I like Yorktown. I like Yorktown in that. I will tell you, I've watched everybody play. The one player that's really captured my attention this year, out of all the volleyball I watched so many great players. The biggest surprise to me was what a wonderful job Bloom and the crew have done with Bella Rosenthal and kind of creating that offense around her strong suits. Bella Rosenthal may be the most underrated player in the state of Indiana. I really believe that. And once again, that's not a knock on anybody. There's so many great players. Rosenthal runs a very intricate, fast, efficient offense. And yes, she does get to stand there a little bit more than everybody else because the passing of Murr and Knuckles is off the charts. But she runs a very fast-paced, high-level offense. Fastest team in the state of Indiana by far. And so I think I like her speed and her efficiency over Zionsville and Noblesville.
Yeah, I agree. Just because, like I said, this past weekend we ripped some balls, and I'll tell you, those guys were taking balls perfect to target. She was kicking it around, heck of a run. So I have no doubt they'll be ready to roll. 4A South, talking about the other half, could be a pretty good one. We got Ron Colley, Avon, 2 historical programs. The first match in Lawrence North upset Cathedral. There, it's a sectional, and they got New Pal.
Yeah, I think Avon moves through. I think Lawrence North moves through. I think you got a huge matchup athletically. Matthews versus Johnson, which will be a lot of fun. 2 kids that just really play high, man, way above the net. Both big time. They're D1 kids, big time D1 kids, and 2 of the best players in the state of Indiana. I like Avon and Lawrence North to move forward, and I like Avon winning that.
Yep.
I like Avon. Avon's just too many tools.
Yep.
They got more tools, and Nick Cox has done a nice job of rallying his troops late in the year. But Avon and Scotty McQueen and his group, just too many tools. I think they roll through that.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, too much. The other one, Seymour winner. We got Providence and Bloomington South to start the day. And Center Grove and Castle, so I think it sets up a good night matchup with Providence and Center Grove.
Yeah, I think that MJ Hamill's healthy, so I like Center Grove rolling through there. I think that Providence has maintained health and maintained nice composure and momentum all the way through. You know, they've won their last 25 matches, and they're rolling. You know, the only difference really here, you know, I like the matchup in a couple of places for Center Grove. They've got some kids that can do some damage on the pins and in the middle of the court. The biggest thing right here is Providence, much like Yorktown. They've been there.
Yeah.
They've just been there.
Been to the show.
They've been there, and they've been there a lot. You know, by the time that you know, some of these guys are going to be done. You know, Rosenthal, what is this, her third final? She got a chance to be in 3 or 4 straight Final Fours.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys.
She was 4 for 4 in the sectional. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. All they've done is win. You know, and so winning is, you know, winners win, and you got to practice winning. You know, the more you win, the more you get, and the more you appreciate it. You know, and that Providence team is much like Yorktown. That's all they've done is win.
Yep.
And there's a reason. And so, you know, I like them moving forward. I think that it's going to be really a solid match, especially if MJ Hamill. This kid is incredibly talented. If she's healthy, you know, it's very similar to Rosenthal at Yorktown. You said you thought Rosenthal was 95% healthy. If Rosenthal is healthy, I like Yorktown over Zionsville. If Hamill is healthy, I think that Providence Center Grove game could be a war.
Yeah.
As it is right now, I think that the Providence team probably a little bit more ammunition, a little bit more history, and I think history comes into play at this time of year. That, you know, the guys that have won relentlessly are going to hold on to the rope harder than everybody else, and so I think that's where you're at there.
Yeah.
Which sets up an insane semi-state.
Yeah.
I told you before, it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are leaving, and some great players have already been knocked out of this tournament. But, man, there's a lot of really good volleyball still left to be played.
No doubt. Well, other than that, that's pretty much the show this week.
Yeah. You know, next week I'm excited to talk to you about who's in the semi-states and start to forecast the state championships a little. For those that are done, congratulations on a great season. You know, high school season is a long, rigorous process. Some of us know better than others. It's a long, rigorous process. Coaching it is not always easy. Playing it's not always easy. To make it through that entire setting is really impressive. Those of you that are seniors, congratulations and Godspeed to you as you move forward. And those of you that are still playing, good luck this weekend. I look forward to talking about you next week.